Welcome back to the Dan Cave and welcome to August 2024 on the bench. So we're into August now, and as is finest traditions on the channel, it's time to have a look back at last month, July, and see what's happened, see what's been built, what's been bought, what's in progress, and any other random things that I can think of throughout my recording. So first up will be the what is built section, but before we dive into what's been built, if you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, pop a like down below, and if you want to leave a comment, feel free to do so as well. So welcome back to those who have already subscribed, and as I've already said, if you are new here, please drop a subscription as well. It costs nothing. So thank you all for being here. So this is my usual on the bench update, and it's going to start with what's been built. So first up in the what's been built is the Itaglieri 72nd scale F4C Phantom of Captain Robin Ogles. So the Itaglieri 72nd scale Phantoms have been around for years. They've done boxings of the F4S and the F4J, various US Navy schemes. They did this boxing, which contained option to build the C, the D, possibly an S as well, with aircraft of US Vietnam fighter pilots that had some success in air-to-air combat. So I chose the Robin Ogles aircraft in the Southeast Asia camouflage scheme. And this is it. That's been built in the last month. So the build itself was pretty straightforward. Usual pitfalls for Phantom kits, those intakes. I think I ended up shimming with some plastic art just to help fill the gap. Overall, the build, given this kit's age, it's a pretty old molding from Itaglieri. It's actually not too bad. It's got recessed detail. Not a fantastically detailed cockpit, but for 72nd scale, it goes together well. Fairly simple kit. A few issues to contend with in terms of, some of the filling and the intakes as mentioned, but aside from that, went well. Primed in UMP black, then kind of built up the color coats using Vallejo Model Air, using a set for the Southeast Asia camouflage scheme. So the Vietnam camouflage, the two greens and the tan, and then grey underneath. Weathered with a variety of things. I think he used ammo panel line washes, some ammo shaders, and I think I used some UMP clay based washes as well, just to add a variety of dirt to the aircraft. So that's number one that's been built this month. So number two, which is just there. So that's the Corvette C5R on 25th scale from Revell. So this was a US boxing, which I picked up in the US. I do have the European boxing of the same kit, but I'll want to do that in a different scheme. And I think the decals are not in great condition in the other one. So I went with the box scheme on this, the CompuWare scheme from Le Mans 2001. It's an interesting kit. I think it's got a reasonable amount of detail in it, or attempts to have a reasonable amount of detail. It's got an engine, transmission, gearbox. But it's kind of, a little bit of Revell's usual, not brilliant fit, not brilliant detail, a little bit soft, not clearly well defined. But nonetheless, for a bargain kit I picked up in the US last year, it was only $30, give or take. So absolute bargain. There's lots of building in that kit, and once you kind of work your way through it, it does all come together. It was an interesting build sequence because, the chassis itself, you kind of add the engine to it, you add the roll cage, which kind of wraps around everything. So it's almost like you build it from the chassis upwards and then you plonk the body on top. So slightly different sequence maybe to some other kits, and somewhere in the middle you kind of do the interior, but everything's built around it, so you can't quite separate it out like maybe some of the other builds I've done where you have clear body, chassis and running gear, interior, final assembly. But nonetheless, it went together pretty well. It was primed, I think, in UMP grey. Then I used Zero Paint Xenon Blue for the base colour. Decals were added, went down absolutely fine. And then clear coated in Gravity Spain 2K. God hand sponges to flat it back when it was cured. And then I used Meguiar's polishing compounds this time because I've run out of the UMP ones. Actually, the Meguiar ones work very well. And I've got plenty of it because I used them on the real car anyway. So yeah, really pleased with this as a kit, or at least as a final product. I think the only slight issue I have is the body is a little bit, doesn't quite just sit on it. I think it needs to be glued down to get it to sit completely perfectly on its on the chassis. But I kind of wanted to not glue it so that I could take it off and look at the interior, which I never will. So I should really just glue it down. So there we go. That's kit number 2 done for July. So kit number 3. Kit number 3 is back to aircraft again. So this was the 72nd scale RS models KI-61 Otsu. So I picked this up in one of the hobby shops, mainly because I liked the scheme. It looked an interesting and challenging scheme to do. Didn't know much about the kit itself. RS Models, a Czech company. I think they mainly do short run injection mold. It looks that way when you actually break into the plastic, and that's exactly how it looked when I started building it. So reasonable amount of detail. You know, you've got control panel, you know, an actual seat, bulkheads in the cockpit, control column. They're fairly well hidden beneath the glass anyway, but they were painted up and weathered, etc., and tried to make them look reasonably acceptable. Fuselage went around it absolutely fine. A little bit of filling on the fuselage. Wings, landing gear, simple kit, went together absolutely spot on. So this was primed in UMP black. Then it was a base coat of Alclad. I think I used high speed silver actually. So yes, that was basis for that. And then for where the Japanese national markings went, I masked over those just temporarily because the decals are going to be used later, and then sprayed the mottled camouflage in AK Air Series. I think it was IJN dark green, which looked the closest match to what I could see for the green I wanted for it. So that was all free-handed using the H&S Infinity 0.15, very low pressure, very challenging to do with acrylic paints because you progressively get tip dry and it just doesn't spray as well. It's very hard to get a very neat freehand camo on 72nd scale, but I'm quite pleased with the results. So then the masks were removed, decals were added, and I think I then gave it a coat of aquagloss before weathering with some ammo washes and some UMP pigments, I think. So that was kit number 3, and that's what's been built last month, or at least finished last month. So what's been bought? So going back to a couple of aircraft that I've just finished, kind of got me a little bit re-inspired to look at aircraft. I've not done many over the last year. I've been mainly focused on cars, a few bikes. So kind of piqued my interest to go back to some aircraft. So I managed to find a couple of kits that I wanted. One got recently released, which is really good because it's a kit that was only previously available from Aero Club in a mixed media vac form, possibly resin and injection. By all accounts, not a brilliant kit. But first up was the Warrior from Special Hobby, so the SF260. So this comes with Irish Air Corps decals, which is the scheme I'm going to go for. I have a resin version of the Warrior as well, somewhere in the stash. That was always intended to be painted in Irish colours as well. So it'll be interesting maybe to build them, when I do build them, to build both together, to see how they come out as a pairing between an older resin kit and this short run injection kit from Special Hobby. Second purchase was the Valum Avro Anson C19. So again, this is to do an Irish Air Corps version. However, the Irish Air Corps used the early Anson C19, which still had the earlier fabric coated wings. This kit includes the metallic coated, so I still need to kit bash this with either the Airfix or the Special Hobby early Anson, which will be done, but that'll give me a spare fuselage then to go and do something with at some point, or do some other kind of kit bashing with the leftover parts. So that's in the pipe works. Contemplating starting that soon, although one of the other purchases I picked up was some decals from Max Decal, which was Joe Maxwell in Ireland. Produced decals for Irish military subjects over the years. He's done some other stuff as well, some Antarctic schemes and schemes specifically for the Fuga Magister, but mainly has focused on producing decals for Irish subjects. So he's recently started producing decals again, and I picked some up for some Aer Lingus aircraft. So he is planning to release another decal set very soon for the Avro Anson C19. So I might wait for that to be released and purchased before I commit to building that soon. We'll just have to wait and see. So that was the purchases. So that was it. So that leaves us with in progress. So in progress on the bench at the moment is the Airfix 72nd scale Bristol Beaufighter. So that is very, very close to being completed. So that's progressed very, very quickly from doing the interior, building up the cockpit, getting a fuselage together, getting the wings on. So that was primed in UMP black, then kind of black based using a mixture of various different shades, so using white, some tan earth, possibly some dark green as well on upper and lower, and then the main colors are sourced from extra acrylics, so the sky underneath and then the extra dark sea grey for the upper surface. So again, that was remodeled over the black based modeling to produce a lot of kind of tonal variation in that paintwork. Decals were then added. Everything was then sealed in with aqua gloss, and then it was onto the weathering stage. So mainly used the UMP clay washes this time around. Didn't do a panel wash because I thought after the black basing and the way I built up the paint, the panel lines were actually quite pronounced anyway. I just thought a panel wash would just make them even more so and maybe look a little bit unrealistic. So I left that out. So mainly focused on adding kind of, dirt, light dirt, earth, mud tones from the UMP clay range. That one on the upper and lower side. Then airbrushed on the exhaust streaking on the underside using UMP dark dirt. Quite a stark contrast for the exhausts, but quite like it, so quite pleased with how that went down. So that's pretty much where that one sits. It's in the very latter stages of weathering, and then it'll be final few parts to be added, and that one will be done as well. So that'll definitely be done for next month. So also in progress at the moment technically is the 12 scale Renault RE20. So that's taken a little bit of a step back over the last month. You may have seen it in one of my previous bench updates. That was very much at the stage where the monocoque itself was pretty much together with the front end done and the brakes, etc. done. So the final additions to the monocoque are now done. I've added the radiators and the rollover hoop. So next step of that is going to progress onto the engine. So priming has started on some of the parts, but there's not much to show. So the main kind of in progress on that has been adding the radiators, and there is some photo etch for the radiators as well, which looks quite nice. So that has kind of progressed that on a little bit. So I do plan on getting back to the engine over the next month, and I'll see how far I progress with that kit over the next few weeks. So one of the other things that I actually had in progress from quite a long time, and I'm surprised no one picked me up on it, was the Ragnar Lothbrok figure from Ninja Prints. Now, sorry, I had to go and grab him because he was behind me. So, possibly my twin brother. Let's see if we can get him to focus. Nope. probably a bit too close. Yeah, so he was fairly well progressed as of, I think that was late last year, maybe early this year. But it's been a while since I've been back to him. So I'll just pull his head off. To the main area that needs to focus on that is to finish off the tunic area, and then there's 2 axes needed to be added as well, so they need to be painted. So I'm planning on getting back to this pretty soon because he deserves to be finished. So so that's one of the in progress things that I plan on getting back to. Let's put him in shot just there. There we go. So yeah, I kind of, he was left for so long. He really needed to be brought to the completed stage. So that's it for in progress. So that is all the main sections completed. So main things to talk about from the random list of things I often think of. So first up, so this video has been recorded the day before the IPMS Avon model show in Thornbury and Bristol. So I'll be going to that tomorrow. But by the time this video gets released, it'll actually have been yesterday. So looking forward to it. And I'm sure it was a great show. But we'll cover maybe a little bit more of that next month, depending on whether I purchase anything. Not really going with any intent to do so, but you never know what you find at a model show. So that's coming up. On a similar theme of shows, there is of course the Friday night live show, which is the first Friday of every month. It's a live show hosted on Model Kit Beginners channel, which is Roland. So we just had our August show, which went really well. We do need to get the numbers back up, so I need to try and make sure I post and nag people who maybe watch me but don't watch the show. I'm sure a lot of you do, but there may be a few out there who haven't kind of made that jump across. So it's worth watching. We cover what people on Scale Fanatics, people we know from IPMS from ISM as well. So we post up regular sections on the Facebook page for the show. People post their in progress work, what they bought, what they built, a bit like this, but it's for everybody with a quick overview of what they've done. And then it's a group of us having a chat about various modeling and sometimes non-modeling related things. So yes, there's a plug for the show. So I think that's it. Actually, I can see it just over my shoulder. So it's a logo. It looks like logo for this channel, but actually this is the logo for DC, not the Dan Cave. So obviously there's my YouTube channel at Dan Cave, but then I have a YouTube channel for me, which is just my personal channel, not really used for anything, mainly used because it tracks my subscriptions and all the data. So I often have other videos of random things, whether it's me out on the motorbike or me moaning about people trying to cut me up while commuting on a motorbike, so stuff like that. Stuff when I've done major work in the garden like we did over the last year, and maybe some random stuff from when I've been off traveling or been places, who knows. So I thought, rather than clog up the Dan Cave with non-modeling related stuff, I'm going to start posting some videos over there. So this was just to let you know that it is over there. I'll probably stick a link in the description down below if you want to go and check it out. I think the only thing I've posted very recently was a little bit of a motorbike trip from earlier in the year, which is me just bimbling about in South Gloucestershire. Nothing dramatic and no commentary, just a little bit of background music. So if you want to go have a look, check it out, feel free. I do hope to post some more stuff. I want to get a little bit of a look at what was done in the garden and the house over the last year, because I think we've done a lot of work to change it from the horrible garden we had for 10 years into something that's now actually quite usable as a garden space. So I've got a little bit of video just showing its progress. So stuff like that will be on that channel. So there we go. I think that's it. Thanks for watching. If you are new here, please subscribe. Feel free to like the video as well. Appreciate it, all the likes I can get. And I feel free to leave a comment as well down below. But thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all very, very soon with another video build. So stand by. Oh, that actually reminds me. So one of my last video builds, the 109 from Edward, I was thinking of releasing a non-voiceover version. It'd be fairly easy for me just to convert over a short video, slightly different format. I might trim it down a little bit further just to try and engage maybe a different demographic of viewer than I get, because my videos are mainly me talking about the model and building, sometimes correctly, sometimes incorrectly, sometimes randomly. But however, it's a lot of listening to me, so maybe to give some other people a little bit of a into the channel, I was going to release some of the videos that I do in maybe a condensed music background format, similar to some other channels out there. So a little bit different, just to try something new. So if you see that come out, don't worry, it's the same kit you've probably already seen. But feel free to watch and like the video anyway. So thank you all for watching once again. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, feel free to leave a comment. I'll see you all very, very soon. So bye bye for now.